Indiana public land. Don't have to draw here. Sunday, opening weekend. If your birds disappeared overnight, but the sign says they're still right there, what changed? If that gobbler can see you, hear you, and still won't come, what is he choosing instead? And when it all falls apart at 40 yards, what did you do in that moment that just cost you the bird? These are the top 3 mistakes public land hunters face opening day of turkey season. This is opening morning, and this is what it looks like.
See it. I seen the full fan.
I want to define this problem clearly. Let's look at the first one. The birds just disappeared. You go out Sunday and you listen. You hear some birds gobble, you mark it on onX. You come back Wednesday and you don't hear anything. So you're wondering if too many people were in here scouting, too much pressure on them, the birds moved off the property, or somebody came in here and busted them off the roost because they had to work this morning. In reality, it's not that complicated. The second problem public land hunters face opening day of turkey season is gobblers aren't callable. And a lot of guys wonder what they're doing wrong. Your entire drive out to your hunting spot, you're practicing your calls, you get there, you've got a bird roosted, he's gobbling from the roost, you do your tree yelp, your fly down cackle, and then he lands and nothing. You wait, and you wait, and you wait, and then sometimes right before Christmas, you decide that he's not coming. That is a common theme amongst a lot of turkey hunters on opening day. And you start to wonder if it was your call. Maybe you hit this one note a little too high. All that practice was for nothing. You got in here and blew it. No, calm down, I'm kidding. It's not that serious. I'll tell you one thing that most call manufacturers don't want you to know is you don't need a lot to call a turkey in. I'm a very poor turkey caller, and I can call them in pretty consistently. And then you have failures at close range, a lot of things that fall apart within 60 yards. You finally got a longbeard heading your way. You've made a few calls, he's been gobbling, and you got a little crest right there about 60 yards in front of you. And just as he gets to the edge of it, he turns and works his way out of shotgun range. And you're sitting there wondering what happened. Why it didn't come your way? What did he see? What did you do wrong? And most guys think these are all separate problems, but I'm here to tell you these are all the same problems, and I can give you one way to fix it, and it's so simple it will blow your mind. So let's break the assumption. It's not pressure, it's loss of predictability. In reality, 36 hours is a long time to expect a turkey to be in the same spot. Their home range during breeding season is just shy of 2,000 acres, and they only revisit about 8 to 10% of that 2,000 acres on a consistent basis. We'll call those revisited areas. The rest is mainly for travel or roosting. And how many revisited areas does each gobbler have? We'll get to that later on in the video. Now let's get to bad calling. A lot of guys know this one all too well. He's hammering on the roost, one right after the other. You execute your fly down cackle flawlessly. A soft purr, rustle some leaves gently, nothing. It's not you, and more than likely, it's not your calling. You can be a horrible caller and still kill turkeys. If you need proof, check out my video, Should I Scout for Turkeys During the Season? What actually is going on is called a turkey spacing pattern. The layout of gobblers and hens across the landscape, shaped by habitat, that determines how they find and breed each other. And that single factor controls how much gobblers move, whether they come to calling, whether they stop, and how they react under pressure. And it's not bad luck. The eastern wild turkey is polygamous, meaning one gobbler breeds multiple hens. Hens choose the gobbler. It's not the other way around. So the entire system depends on who can find who controls spaces, who is visible and accessible, and that's where spacing pattern comes in. There are 2 primary spacing systems. The surrounding habitat controls that system. Different habitat in places like Northwest Indiana push turkeys into different spacing systems. So why do the birds hang up? Often that happens at edge of visibility, transition zones, because that's where their spacing system tells them to stop and wait for a hen to come closer. So it's not you, it's just natural instinct. So a real-time application, you back out instead of pushing because you don't hear any birds. A gobbler's home range during breeding season is just shy of 2,000 acres. Within that home range, a gobbler typically has 2 to 5 revisited areas. These revisited areas, on average, are roughly 120 acres. He will visit these areas every 2 to 3 days and can spend days at one spot. 2,000 acres is not a lot of land. And if you get into panic mode and start covering a lot of ground without a plan, you're going to walk right past that spot and never even realize you were there. This is where scouting and experience begin to play a part. A wise turkey hunter never gets in a hurry. He sits down, takes a nap, and eats a sandwich because he knows in a couple hours, everything's going to be different. If he's not coming to your calling, you reposition instead of calling. Wild turkeys appear to be polygamous, where males attempt to mate with as many females as possible and contribute no parental care. Yeah, you heard that right. No parental care. Male wild turkeys do not defend areas, and instead they maintain dominant hierarchies through combat. Gobblers don't use their entire range evenly. They have tight clusters of high-use zones, strut areas, loafing spots, feeding edges you can focus on. Gobblers repeatedly visit small, predictable hotspots that combine cover, visibility, rough terrain, and proximity to females. Once you identify these, hunting success increases dramatically. Close range mistakes. You wait instead of forcing it. I understand you only have so much time. Backing out doesn't always seem like an option. But give me a moment and let's go over what this would look like and how it would work to your advantage. In the state of Indiana, male turkeys have 2 peak gobbling periods. The goal of most state wildlife biologists is to start turkey season to coincide with the second gobbling peak, which happens to be the peak nesting period for hens. And they do this to keep hens from being accidentally shot. And they also do this to give gobblers a chance to mate before being shot. And this also gives the public land sportsman a chance to harvest the turkey during one of the most exciting times of the season. Let's talk about mid-morning shifts. Let's envision what one looks like. Say it's a quiet morning. You drove to a few spots and listened for a while. Tried locating with a pot call and nothing. It's hot and the mosquitoes are horrible. You're replaying all your scouting trips in your mind. And then you remember October. It was hot back then too. You had a set hung in a river bottom with a slight ridge coming through with a small bench about halfway up. It's not a place you would think of when you think of turkeys, but you had a flock come by that October afternoon. And you're sitting there thinking, it's still early enough that it's probably not choked up with weeds. There's not enough new growth to keep a turkey out of there. So you decide to go take a look. You pull into the management area and you start going down the road to your deer hunting spot, and it's just thick swamp on both sides. There's not a tire track on the road, and it doesn't look like there's been anybody there for a week. And as you're driving, you're thinking, yeah, I know why. There's probably no turkeys here either. But you go anyways. You got to go take a look. And you're thinking, why not? So that was the mid-morning shift. Now we're going to talk about birds not being callable. And I'm going to start to show you how all of this plays out together. You get out of your truck. You grab your gun and your vest, and you start walking. You check your phone, make sure the ringer's off. Check. You're good. The breeze feels good. Barometric pressure must be dropping. Some clouds rolling in. Looks like there might be a storm on the way. You're halfway to the spot now. You're passing a CRP field. There's a fire lane that runs between the CRP and some timber, and then you notice it. It's a hen doing about Mach 2 going down the fire lane. She must have saw you before you saw her. You get that sick feeling in the gut of your stomach like you might have just ruined something, but real quick you get an excited feeling. You're like, hey, at least there's turkeys here. So you keep going. And you're thinking, if she was coming out of that CRP field that time of day, she must have been nesting. So if she's nesting, there's got to be a tom around. So now we get to mistakes happening within 40 yards. I'm going to show you how this fits in to the other two. You get close to the spot you want to try. You're close enough to try locating a turkey to see if one's in there. Get out your crow call. Nothing. Nothing. You're like, all right. Maybe the wind carried the sound a different direction. Maybe I didn't hear them. You start walking in. You hear some geese get up about 400 yards away. They must be heading to the river because they're flying your way. You're walking, thinking, trying to put a plan together, and they're just mock, mock, mock. They're getting closer and closer. And right as you go step over a log, the geese must be about 40 or 50 yards away now. Mock! Then you hear a gobbler. Go! And you get excited because you know he's close. You turn, you look, you try to find a place to hide. You see a big blowdown, or a big oak tree fell down over the wintertime. It's got a big root ball sticking out. You run over there, crawl up in the middle of that, give a little soft yelp. Boom! Gobbles right back at you. Move around on the leaves a little bit, make a purr, gobbles right back at you again. He's 50 yards away. He's about to be in your lap, and you're pumped. He's coming to the left. You got to make a slight shift. And just as you turn to shift, you hear boop, boop, boop. The gobbler stops, sticks his head up, stands there for about half a second, takes off. That old hen that got you first thing this morning, another one got you again. Should have thought I wasn't going to make it that easy, boys, because it never is. There's always something you're not expecting that pops up, and that old hen is usually one of them when it comes to turkey hunting. As you're sitting there and you're feeling defeated, you realize, hey, it's only Saturday. I still got Sunday. There's no tire tracks in the parking lot but yours. Doesn't look like anybody knows about this bird. You start to realize what you have accomplished that morning. You went on a hot morning. Birds typically gobble less when the temperature gets above 75 degrees. Birds don't like to gobble when there's barely any wind. You knew that you had a front come in, that the pressure was dropping. That tends to get birds to gobble. They seem to gobble right before a storm comes through. You also knew the hens were going to be nesting in the middle of the day. And you took all of that information along with previous experiences deer hunting, and You came up with a hypothesis, you tested that hypothesis, and it turned out to be true. You might not have been successful, but that's part of playing the game. That's why we love turkey hunting. It's a chess game, and you don't always win. Most times you don't win, but that's what keeps you coming back for more. And now I hope you guys can see how all of this plays in together. And these three problems aren't really separate problems, but they're actually one. And they can be solved by educating yourself. Educating yourself on turkey habitat, how turkeys move, and how they respond, and what peak gobbling periods are, and when peak nesting is. If you guys enjoyed this video, please smash that like and subscribe button. And also, if you want to know more about public land turkey hunting or public land whitetail hunting, which is really what we do here at the Public Land Sportsman. We love turkey hunting, but we are very passionate about whitetails. But check out this video right here about hunting whitetails. YouTube thinks you'll like it, and I couldn't agree more. So God bless. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got something out of it. Be safe this season. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.